Hello, welcome to Dissident Canada. My name is Tyler. Today, I thought I'd talk about something that's become increasingly obvious, and it's that the world religion is denialism. Like, it's ridiculous. It doesn't matter really who you speak to. They will deny something that is fact and spit out something completely untrue. Like, I'm on here. I talk a lot about the economy and politics. It spreads everywhere else too. Like, it's ridiculous. But like the two I talk about the economy, like you know, the entire time I've been doing this channel so far, I've been saying, hey, the economy is not doing swell, and it is continually getting worse, and there is no white swan on the horizon, but there's like 50 or more black swans on the horizon. That could be insanely problematic. One of them is price discovery with just commercial real estate. There's also price discovery not happening with residential real estate. That is like 1/4 the problem in the United States, but you compound them together, and that's about a $5 trillion problem, if not more. You've got the auto loan sector of subprime being exploding in delinquencies. You have credit card delinquencies also ticking up. You have just credit card debt ticking up. It's like a 35% increase year over year so far, and the year's not even done. Like it went from 800 billion last year to like 1 point something trillion. It's a problem, and yet you still have people out there saying, the economy's not that bad, or and the new stuff is saying, oh, Trump is breaking the economy with tariffs. Meanwhile, I've been saying well before that whether or not Trump has implemented tariffs, we've had warning signs that the problems are deep seated in the financial system and will definitely come home to roost no matter what Trump does. I said, you know, once he won, that hey, they're going to blame the economy on Trump no matter what happens. Uh, whether he gets his tariffs through or not, they're going to blame it on him. Meanwhile, here I am looking at global macro and banks reacting to, you know, jobs and incomes being terrible and continually going down, and it's like, yeah, sure, we could blame Trump, or here in Canada we can blame Carney, but like it's a globally synchronized problem. Like another one of just pure denial is Carney did another pause on the EV mandate. All right, or part of the EV mandates. I think they're going to be indefinitely paused eventually. Like they won't call it an indefinite pause, but it's what it will be. And I've been of this opinion since I heard them, because like auto manufacturers understand that 3% of their sales at best, maybe 3.5 if you include hybrids, all right, is the EVs and hybrids. So, of course, at some point, the auto manufacturers in Southern Ontario and other auto manufacturers that are not, manufacturing in Canada but are shipping to Canada would go to the government and say, we cannot meet your demands because the market is not there. And if you don't like that, that's too bad. We will pull out. Now, the ones that have auto plants, such as Toyota and Hyundai, are, well, sort of with Hyundai, but specifically, let's just talk Toyota. All right. Toyota's tried. Like, you can go to toyota.ca and look at their car lineup. Most of that shit is EVs or hybrids. And then you can look at what's on the lots, and it's that shit because it's not selling. But anyway, like this world, it's like the first global religion. It does not matter where you go in the world. Someone is in denial about something. Like the Chinese communists. Let's speak about China. China's just in denial about everything. The state of their economy is off off a cliff. They've done like 2 or 3 rounds of technical QE already and stimulus packages that have gone nowhere. To the point where you have such problems in China. You have manufacturers, one, having sabotage problems because of, two, cash flow problems where they're not paying their employees. Like in the last year, it's something like 60 to 70 different factories have been sabotaged across China. Um, you have the Chinese Communist Party in complete denial that their society is anyway cohesive, and the biggest evidence of that is China has been rapidly putting up what are bollards, car bollards, to protect citizens on, specifically children, on city streets, because there are people that are so fed up that because they can't access the pew pews in their country, they get in a vehicle and they cause mass casualty incidents. Now it's specifically mostly targeted at children, which is horrendous. Uh, and it's because these people are so upset with society, they want to destroy it any way possible, and they see it as destroying the future, which is the children. So, like, again, doesn't matter where you go. You can pick a nation, you can find people in denial about anything. And it's not just like, oh, hey, no, that's not true. It's like willful denialism. Like they go full on. Like you can go left, right, you know, um, anarchist, communist, does not freaking matter. They are in denial about something. I bring it up every once in a while about libertarians and anarchists, that they're completely in denial um, that their economic and political theology is really what it is, has any chance of ever working out in the real world, because either one would end up with extreme authoritarianism on mass scale, that the likes you could not believe. Because while I do think you should keep government in check, it should be relatively strong and people need to keep it in check. But if you look at what the modern libertarian is putting forth, it's not a limited government that is relatively powerful. It is a limited government that is may as well not exist, which would just mean the corporations would rule your lives. Same within an anarchist society. Any corporation that got large enough would win. And you'd have that corporatist full-on dystopia. At least with government, you have a chance of keeping the corporations in line and not completely out of power. And you can see that every once in a while with in the United States, you have class action lawsuits, and here you have similar types of suits where the government goes after corporations for doing wrong. And it's mostly because those corporations fell out of favor with the ruling party, but no system is perfect. And I'm in no denial that there is ever a perfect system. There is just trade-offs, and the question is, which trade-offs do you want to deal with? The government I know is better than the corporation that I have no clue. Because while, yes, to a certain degree, if you look in, say, the medical field, they have gotten away with, numerous crimes against humanity, at least in just the last few years, in no short part due to government, but in reality, that's just money flowing and changing hands. They could have done it in a 100% private system. The government didn't need to exist for their evil to get through. You have very rich people throwing money away. Well, not money away, but money around. So, like, the one nation you could probably convince me doesn't have a state religion of denialism is the Russians, and I would mostly agree with you. I do think there is a some amount of denialism about what's going on with Ukraine, that they are kicking NATO's ass. Now, that is mostly true, but also you don't have, a United States aircraft carrier fleet or a few of them right in that war involved in any way at the moment, other than you've got um, the Mediterranean carrier fleet and a couple of air bases. They are doing air to air refuelings, and they have long range reconnaissance planes flying around feeding intel to NATO commanders, and then that's relayed to the Ukrainians. But you don't have like a naval task force in the Black Sea owning the air and just, decimating Russians that way. So there's a little bit of denialism that like Russia could go toe to toe with the U.S. military. Um, I think they could do fairly well, and they have a lot of sustaining power. The problem is, all right, if there was any ever direct confrontation between the United States, say Russia and or China, or now maybe potentially in the future and or India, and I mean direct, like think World War I and II battle lines being drawn, not what we're used to of proxy wars and picking on the little country, like actual full blown war. Uh, I think it's fast and furious, because the United States does not have, and NATO in general does not have the capability of a fast resupply, and you would be using munitions at a ridiculous rate. So I would think it would go to the nasty stuff, either full on chemical, biological, or radiological warfare real quick. Real freaking quick. Like, say, within a couple years. It would not be, you know, the long drawn out fight of World War One, or, the constant home by Christmas narrative in World War II, which, when you consider with the United States, it was like, hey, we're going to storm all of Europe in the middle of 44 and be home for Christmas, when, they were mostly home by 45 by Christmas. I mean, they won. I mean, the drawdown took forever for obvious reasons. So it's not that far off. Like, you're only off by a year. So, but like, just think about in your everyday lives, like the people who, now, some of it is ignorance, but like you can tell people straight up facts and they'll be like, "No, that's not how it is." Again, with the economy, like I can straight up say, "Hey, this whole replacement theory really has to do with jobs, incomes, and the state of the economy." Because if you look at, again, when this all lines up and when everybody went insane about this and the slow ramp up that we've had, it matches up with the euro dollar. It's an economic problem. And the people in charge to understand, or have a good enough understanding of history, that, hey, when you have severe economic problems, you get violent revolutionary change. We should probably stop that. How do we stop that? Oh, well, we'll just juice the numbers and keep people in the dark, although it was always going to bite them in the ass. By importing cheap foreign labor, the numbers will look good. The economy will, have a backfiring like 92 car. It'll get you to point A to point B, not very fast and not very well, but yeah, you'll probably get there. Um, like people think with ideology, like you now have another one in the United States. You have MAGA clapping seals who just whatever the Trump does, they clap along, going, "Yes, Mr. President, that's a great idea." You know. Meanwhile, in reality, the MAGA coalition that was rock solid at the beginning of the year is now deeply fractured because of two key things. One, Israel got what they wanted to a certain extent, not entirely, but that's what it came off of. Israel sucked the United States into a war. It was a short war, but it was a war. And then you have the continued cover up of Epstein, which is a signal and a proxy of, oh, these elites that we voted Trump in to deal with, oh, they're just going to keep getting away with everything. It's, you know, everybody is in denial about something. Denialism, the world religion, it makes the world go round. And this isn't really something new. It's just so blatantly obvious now with the internet. This has been, like, I have no doubt that you could have said this from, like, in time memorial or the beginning of recorded history with humanity and just be like, oh, no. Like, Christianity is a religion, Islam's a religion, Hinduism is a religion, and they're very big, very big. Lots of followers. Taoism, again, very big, very large religions. But the largest religion that is atheistic in nature, or agnostic, I should put it, it knows no other religion. Every other religion follows it, is denialism. Like, you can go hard into that. Like, just to bring this up with Christianity, because I know it a little bit better than the others. Point out to a diehard Christian that believes the King James Bible is the actual true record of the Word of God. Point out that King James and his monks, when they were writing it, did heavy revisions to the Bible, that was circulating at the time, that was already heavily revised. Like, continually point that out and see how far they'll be like a denial, be in denial that, like, no, that's not what happened. Like, King James literally had a tyrant removed from the Bible because he was a tyrannical king. Yeah. Jesus in the New Testament hates tyrannical kings. Well, I won't subscribe the word hate to, the Son of God, or, the the human embodiment of God that was here for a time being. However you want to phrase it. Okay? Let's just say he thought tyrannical kings were no bueno. And also, love the New Testament. It's fantastic. This is a dig at Catholics, but mostly the church in its evil ways. Jesus in the New Testament always hated greedy priests who would pass the collection bucket around to rake money out of everybody. Just gonna point that out there. Jesus, every time he saw that, took those priests to task. The Lord thy God was not super bueno with, how would I put this? The over expense of real estate, spending, way too much on real estate. Admittedly, in his name, he much preferred, specifically Jesus, if you actually just took that and did good deeds with it. But, I'm no theologist. I'm just pointing out inconsistencies. I'm just going to put this out there. I am not an atheist by any stretch of the means anymore. There was a time, but nor do I blindly subscribe to the King James Bible. I'll put that out there. Yep. Anyways, that's the video for today. Monday, what is it? The 8th of September? Whatever day it is. I am recording this before that. And I don't really have any real plans for this week for videos, except I want to, again, revisit the denialism that the Alberta separatist movement is in. They think they can win when they have no political power, which is, they may have the support of the people. I cannot verify. I have not seen any good data that would suggest one way or the other definitively that they have enough support of the people. I don't think so, especially after Mark Carney brought in so many temporary foreign workers. How they would possibly have enough votes by percentage to get that passed anytime soon. But that being said, that's only one thing. Like, even if they have the votes, there are a lot of powerful forces that do not want Alberta out. And those forces have A, money, and B, political soft and hard power. So we'll take a look at that this week at some point. And of course, there's going to be more. There's always more to talk about. Until then, have a good day.